Hi, everybody. It's meteorologist Joe Chaffee. Just going to give you the latest. This is the overnight GFS model that comes out at around 5 in the morning, and we'll take you through it. And there's the core of the cold air that we're seeing moving through now. It's kind of unusual this winter so far. Temperatures in the 20s and not going anywhere today, and we'll be in the teens and single digits tonight. All right, as we move through the week, this high goes out and then just then begins to rebuild across New England. We will moderate, but we're not going to be able to get too warm because the onshore flow sets up here by Friday. And you can see these isobars with the northeast winds, and we've got this weak storm system that's in southeast Kansas that starts to pull up some moisture. And there isn't a whole lot of cold air, although sometimes you got to be a little careful with these situations. You can have cold air that winds up being down near the surface in time as that low heads towards Chicago. You can see it, weak low redevelops. This is for going into the weekend, going into Saturday. Weak low redevelops off the mid-Atlantic coast and gives a little bit of moisture. This is not a big deal. And with regards to the second system now, this model, this is the operational GFS. This is the one that everybody gets to see. It really doesn't do very much with regards to this next weather system. You can barely find it now on this particular run. And then it starts to develop another low along about Wednesday. And it's this one that it intensifies a bit and brings a little rain and snow into New England. But it also shows bitter cold air coming down into the northern plains and into the Midwest. And some of that cold air, a lot of that cold air looks like is going to be getting in here for the end of the week. And the European goes along with this. Now, this is one of the issues that continues because we keep looking at the operational runs that keep going one way or the other. And I want to switch over to the ensembles. And the ensembles basically are the models showing an average. The European ensembles, they're however many members there are to these ensembles, there might be, 10 or 20 different variations of the standard European model that you see publicly. And what happens is that with regards to what the map is, it's basically an average of all those ensemble members. So there's the cold air pulls out, and you can see this sort of weak system that comes up for Saturday. This is the upper airflow, and then you have this very broad trough. Here's a northern piece of energy. Here's the southern piece of energy. And the models, the average of all the different members have a trough, but it's not very sharp. You can see how broad it is. As we go into early next week, we get some cold air with that, and then now we're out at day 10. Now that was the European ensemble. I'm going to switch over to some of the other ensemble groups from the other models, and we'll roll this back to the beginning, and you can kind of get here's that first system. And by the way, you'll notice that as we go through time, everything kind of gets smoothed out a little bit. One of the reasons why you look at the ensembles is you try and get an idea of where all the different members are going to give you these different varying solutions. What I don't like it necessarily from a forecast standpoint is that it gives you an average, in which case you're going to have average results in terms of how your forecast is going to perform. So now we're into Saturday, and you can kind of see same idea of very broad trough. It's not sharp at all, but here's that shot of cold air that comes in, and then it pulls out and kind of moderate a little bit, but not very much. The general pattern here is pretty dry and benign the way it looks when you look down the road. But again, these are ensembles. They're just averages. I'm going to switch over to the surface because something that shows you the surface on this, because this will give you a better idea of what it looks like on the ground. And we'll back it up. And here we go. And you can see there's our cold air. The high builds up back into New England. Now here's that first weather system. And if you notice on the ensembles, there it is. A weak low in northern Oklahoma. There's your low that redevelops. And again, this is an average of all the models. This is a colder look than what the other models are showing, than what the operationals are showing. But it doesn't really show much of a coastal low. You kind of see it there, just sort of a weak wave. And then it still tries to have something weak to our east here on Sunday night. and that runs off the coast of New England. Now, again, this is an average. There are probably model members that show intense storms out here. There are other model members that show weak or next to nothing, or further south or further east. And then it gets cold again into next week, and then beyond that, modifies, another high builds in. Stays kind of cold on this particular ensemble group. So you can understand the difficulties here in trying to forecast. I'm a little underwhelmed at this point with everything, because I'm not particularly caring about how the upper flow looks like. It doesn't look all that sharp or all that deep. I would like to see something deeper in order to gain a little more confidence. But all we can really do is just go from run to run and see what the day run does. I'm sure it's probably going to take us on a slightly different adventure. In the meantime, for the rest of the day, we were looking at a lot of clouds. There have been some flurries and snow showers around with the cold air and this north wind that's blowing off some warm bodies of water, particularly affecting parts of Long Island with some flurries, and probably you'll see some flurries in the Hudson Valley in New Jersey as well, and in eastern Pennsylvania. So enjoy what little snowflakes you get, because that's all it's going to be, at least for the time being.